try. How'd you get involved into the beautiful game?
Uh, I was born here in Queensland, small town, very small town, and kicking balls. That was the first thing I remember, is kicking balls around the house, kicking balls around school. Anywhere I went, I had a ball. Literally, where I was sleeping, I had balls on a shelf above my head. So, playing soccer at school, I don't remember the exact point, but I got to probably 7 or 8, and I realized that this was what I wanted to do. And just like any kid, really, just grew up playing. But my thing was, I was obsessed, like completely obsessed. So I would train with my school team. I didn't do this when I got older because of injuries, but when I was young, school team, club team. And then when I wasn't doing any of that, I was either in the park or I was at home in my garage doing what is now the NextLevel program. But the thing is, for me, I was obsessed, and I was getting so many more touches than any other player around me every single day and every single week, that naturally I was just getting better and improving faster. So yeah, that's how I got started, like any other player, really.
Amazing. So boom, 2020 hits, COVID comes. You had a really bad injury with fracturing your back. How were you able to bounce back from that injury? You know, that being very severe.
It was long, man. It was long, and I had so many thoughts in my head. All really weird thoughts, because to be honest, at 16, 17, I thought my whole career was over. And it's funny because I posted a TikTok yesterday that went semi-viral, and one boy in the US commented, and he said, I'm 15 years old, I got an ACL injury. Should I stop playing? And I don't know the name exactly who said that, but you know who you are. And I made a whole video about it. I'll posting it the next couple of days. You get to 15, 16, you have a massive injury, and it feels like the world's falling apart. It's all over. But I brought in a video. I'm going to talk about it. Ansu Fati broke his leg at 14. He was out for a year and a half, and he came back, had an unbelievable season, and 16 years playing first team. So, 3 years cycle went from playing on this small little junior field to being out and now being first team. So anything's possible, and it's a lot of footballs in your mind, So, but my thing was, I had probably one of the worst injuries. I was literally learning to walk properly again, but it was during COVID. So even though I was like, oh, my career is over, I'd call on my friends in Germany and Spain, and they were in their house, watching TV because they couldn't train or play for literally a year. They were just doing like any form of, strength work at home, right? So it was a really weird time. Like, obviously, a pandemic is a very unnatural human experience, and so it was a really weird time for that to be happening whilst I was going through an injury. Yeah, I think, yeah, really weird time.
Nice. Mentally, how'd you bounce back from the injury?
Horribly. I was thinking about just not playing again so many times, and it was, stupid. But in the moment, and this is what people go through, is stupid thoughts that don't make sense when you come out the other side. But in the moment, they feel so real because you physically, your body's broken. You can't move. So, mentally was tough. It was tough. And the only thing that really eased my pain, my mental suffering, was the fact that even if I wanted to and I could play, I couldn't because of COVID, So that really helped me in that particular period. But I can imagine if COVID wasn't around and I had to deal with that whole thing, and my friends were playing and scoring goals on TV, then that would have been a lot harder.
Got it. And I'm assuming, are you back to 100% now?
Yeah. So I'm back now. I just signed with a club here in Queensland, looking to make a move soon. Again, can't talk too much about where or when, but need to do it just for me, so I can sort of prove that, obviously Ansu's proved it, right? He massive injury, the most pinnacle point of your youth career, your most important year to prove yourself. but I want to prove it as well. So next year, looking to try and move into a pro level. So
Nice. It's good to hear that you're back to 100%, and a signing is always exciting. So early congratulations from my side to you.
yeah.
Looking forward to hearing about that later into the future. And I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give for the next generation of players growing up right now that want to, that are maybe from Australia or Canada, US, that want to go to countries like Spain or Germany? What advice would you give to those players that want to travel?
Um, there's that's a yeah. I mean, there's so many ways you can take it. It's at the end of the day, one. I don't know if you heard of a guy called Alex Hormozy. I don't know if you've heard. Have you heard of him?
It sounds familiar. His name
Yeah,
sounds
you've probably seen some of his reels or his TikToks, but he talks about this concept of like, and I know it's pretty dark, but what really matters. Like, he talks about like this point of like, what's the point of life? You know what I mean? The reason I tie this into this question is because people get so hung up on this coach has to like me, this club has to like me, I have to make it in this city or this town or this whatever or this country even. Like the problem and a big problem people have is committing themselves mentally and making mental assumptions or wants um, or attaching their mental side to a place that they have to get to, which doesn't really matter. In reality, it doesn't actually matter. They can be a professional in another country or another city in another country. So my biggest piece of advice is if you're going to a club or a country and it doesn't work, pick yourself up and go to the next one. Don't hang around trying to make it work if it's simply not working. You know what? Because at the end of the day, you're going to be gone in 6 months. You might be playing, scoring goals in another club, and you're not going to be thinking about this. So, have the ability to just bounce back and don't. I can't put my finger on that word right now, but don't set your mind in stone with places that really don't matter, and you can just bounce to another place and become a pro somewhere else. So that's my biggest piece of advice. I think a lot of people get hung up on certain things when it's not super important.
Got it. Just to dive a little bit deeper before we transition into the next level of soccer training, the platform that you've created, which is really cool. I like it. Let's just say parents, soccer moms, soccer dads or soccer players watching this video and saying, "Wow, Kai went to Spain, Germany." What goes into that? What value can you share? What information can you share with the viewers? Um, Again, that want to travel to those countries in regards of depending on the age that you traveled. How old were you when you traveled?
So yeah, I was 11, 12 when I
Oh,
first left. Yeah.
wow. So that's really young. So I'm assuming here. Well, did you have both your parents or one of your parents to go with you to these countries?
I had one of my parents, and then there was periods where I would be on my own, and then the other parent would come over. But most of the time, I was on my own with the host family. So.
Wow, wow. Okay, got it. So, just provide, I guess, and just like drop points, like just everything that, a player would need in order to go to a country so they could have an idea in their mind of like, okay, I need to make sure I have this amount of money. I need to make sure that, my parents stay in this country for at least this amount of time, 3 months until I get settled in. And, just give a little bit of an idea to the viewers that want to have an idea of it.
Yeah, I mean, I get this question. Well, recently I've got this question quite a bit about what you've just asked me, and it really depends on the country. We'll get into next level stuff later, as you said, but I just want to relate one point back is I give everyone my contacts as part of the program, and what I've found is that it doesn't matter if you go to Holland or England or Spain, every country works a little bit differently. Like I know in Spain, you've got to be there for 6 months of the year, or you've got to have a passport. There's always ways to uh, um, ways around certain things that can be difficult for families. Like if a father or mother has a job and they can't be there for 6 months, well then you can leave them with someone over there that is acting as the guardian. And there's so many different ways. Financially, it all depends on your situation at home, whether you've got family in the country, or you know you have friends there that you're just going to go and live with the friends, and then it all depends. Like there's so many variables. Are you paying for the place that you live in? Is a club paying for the place that you live in? Are your friends just going to let you stay there? There's so many different variables. Of family going to let you stay there. And every year I was there, I stayed with two families in Spain and one family in Germany. And every family, the whole situation worked different. And so, yeah, I mean, it's for anyone wanting to go, my sort of step by step thing would be starting to rain here, might get a little noisy. My step by step thing to do would just find the right contact, go for a session, go for a trial. If you don't get in, go straight back a year later, like go and work hard, like what I had to do. If you get in, great, organize it. You got to sort of, you got to pick the stuff up on your feet. It's not a set process for every particular person in every single country. You just got to sort of pick it up as you go. And like, I remember the first family I ever lived with in Spain, and this is crazy because you think it's crazy, but at the time it feels normal, was my grandmother came over to Spain with me, and her handbag got stolen. Like when we were in the hotel, she didn't see it. Someone just walked past and grabbed it and walked away. And we went to the police station, and the lady that was the translator at the police station ended up being best friends with the person that I ended up living with. So we became good friends with the lady at the police station, and she was like, "Oh, yep, you looking for a place to live? These people do like au pairs, like they look after kids and whatever." Perfect. There we go. So just stuff happens. That's the thing. People try to plan so much. Of course, plan your trials, plan your trip. But when you get there, things happen when you take action. And that's a really important point, is like when you actually decide to commit and give it a go and try and go and experience, things will come up. You'll meet people, opportunities, other things will come up that you won't even be prepared for. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, great points. And I mean, I could relate to that 100%. But I think through my experience, like I'm 22 right now, and I've traveled to England first, and then Spain and the States. Um, and I've also wrote a book, a soccer book for it's called, I don't know if you've seen it. It's called I Want to Become a Professional Soccer Player. And one of the things I've learned throughout my experience of traveling and being in all these countries is actually, and speaking to almost to 70 plus pros now, it's on the podcast, is that I personally think, I wanted to get your thoughts on this, that I think it's actually important to plan everything. Maybe through time that may change for you, but I think it's important to actually have everything planned out. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, plan as much as you can. Like plan literally as much as you can. I've just seen horror stories. Like the funniest one was a player went to Holland, or no, not Holland, Italy, and like planned this taxi ride for 2 hours to the place they were staying. Sorry, not Italy, France. France, staying. They were staying 2 hours away from the airport. Planned it's silly sort of example, but yeah, stuff goes wrong. You know, the Uber, the taxi service chauffeur thing that they organized to get them from the airport, it didn't show up, so they sat in the airport for 7 hours. That's just a very off-topic example, but I think a lot of people, and my parents included, plan to the millisecond for these types of things, but then they get there and shit goes wrong. Sorry, things go wrong, and you know, it's you just gotta. It's like football. You got to be able to deal with stuff going wrong. So that's just the point I wanted to make, because I think you know, everyone's ideal in online education, in whatever you do, everyone wants the thing to be perfect and they plan for it to be perfect, but 99 times out of 100 it's not going to work like that, and stuff's going to come up. So you just got to, yeah, plan as much as you can.
Yeah, you know, I think this is a perfect pivot to dive into Next Level Soccer, the online platform that you've created, that again is very exciting for us. That I'm excited to talk to you about, because I've seen it online on Instagram. I've seen the ads. I've seen your videos. And for you to be 19, this is good stuff, man. This is good. I like it. So how'd you, like, why did you want to create this platform?
It was a really, you know, people talk sometimes about, like how the craziest things or the best things can come from the worst parts of your life, and I was 16, no, sorry, 17, laying in bed after coming back from Germany and with this back injury, not literally being able to walk, and thinking about how a couple months ago I was, on the field, we're playing against Borussia Dortmund and all this type of stuff, and um, now multiple of those players are pros. Some of my teammates are now pros. And like even yesterday, man, I got a video sent to me by a friend of mine that came on trial. This is a massive point for everyone to know. A boy came on trial at my Bundesliga side when I was in the under 17s, and two brothers, twin brothers, they both didn't make it. And we had kids from, English Premier League clubs come. No one got picked throughout the year that came to trial. And it's a bit off topic, but I'll circle around in a second. Those two boys, I kept in contact with them because they're really good boys, quite small for their age, but nice. And they just sent me a message yesterday. They're both playing professional football now in Macedonia in front of 20, 30,000 people every weekend. And it just goes to show you that at that period of my life, I would have been seen as, on top of the world, and they didn't even get in. And now they're pros, and I'm still dealing with COVID and stuff. So it just shows you that life shifts all the time. And so the reason I created this is because I went through the process and the journey and everything, and I was walking through the unknown, right? And I'm very happy with what I did as a youngster and what I'm going to do in the future with future plans and everything I'm moving forward into. Um, you know, I think I've still got a very substantial shot at becoming a pro and doing what all my friends are doing, considering we've grown up at the same level. So, but my biggest issue was I went through the whole thing as an unknown. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying things. And one thing was for certain, that I came from nowhere, a little town that no one really has heard of ever, even in Australia. And I got out, right? How did I get out? And so NextLevel Soccer is not only the European, the American, the UK trial, all my contacts. It starts off with, how do you go from having, not really much opportunity or any or a lot of opportunity, and it doesn't really matter, but how do you go from a person to an elite player, like a player that can hold themselves in Europe, coming from a country like Australia, New Zealand, where anywhere in the world really that's not Europe. How do you get to that level not growing up there? Because there's a big difference between players that just naturally grow up playing with good kids in Spain than there is kids here in Australia that play at school with their friends. So NextLevel Soccer is a way for me to show anyone that how to do it exactly, step by step. And the training program that I did to get myself to a level where I was coming from Australia, never played in Spain, to be good enough in Spain, is on the course. Like, I just give it to people. And I think a lot of programs, apps, things out there aren't as precise on exactly what people need to be doing right now. And a lot of people hold stuff back, like they put a program out and they hold half of their best stuff in, because they're like, oh, I'll make a different program later and I'll upsell them and do all that stuff. Whereas me, it's like, I just want to create a source that anyone around the world, anywhere, can enroll into and have an exact successful model system that they just have to follow. So there's basically three parts to the course, to give you a very brief understanding. Is the exact training I did to get myself to a level where I got to Spain. And then when I was at Spain at the clubs, you grow so much because you're around that environment of good players. And so, but the thing that kept me going and kept me progressing to bigger clubs, better leagues, bigger clubs again, was that I did more at home. And I was getting that training with the club, but then I was also improving more at home on my own. So all of that's explained in the course, the training on how to get to that level, but then when you're there, how to keep going. The exact program I did from 6 to until today, I still do it. And I talked to legend, ex-Liverpool legend, Craig Johnston, and he literally said, 25, 26, 27, still doing this extra work similar to what I was doing at home when he was playing for Liverpool.
How'd you get him on?
I've known him. He's Australian, so I met him a while ago when I was playing in Europe, and I said I'm playing in Europe, and he's like, "Oh, cool." So we just built a relationship when I was younger. But yeah.
Got it.
Anyway, so the second part of the training is like all like videos, and it's like exactly how I did what I did, every step of the way, giving both the parent and the player the knowledge that they wouldn't get if they didn't go and actually live the process. And so they get sort of the answers to the hurdles they haven't even run into yet. So my theory, like the problems they're going to run into, they get the answers to before they run into them. And then the third part is the contacts. So I'm like in that bed, a year and a bit ago, not being able to walk and thinking like, what are the 3 things or 2 things or 5 things that people need? And I finished up on 3. And it was like, if everyone had the exact knowledge, what's in my head, plus the training I did, plus all of my contacts that I built up, and one contact meeting one guy led to the meeting the next guy, and if everyone had access to that, maybe I could make people do what I did, but also be better than me, because I think I've attached half of my identity now to making people better than what I am and what I was, because what else are you going to do? You know what I mean? And it comes back to Alex Hormozi. He's given me a lot of inspiration on that side. So that's essentially NextLevel Soccer.
Nice. We're gonna make sure that we link everything in the description so all the viewers can go check that out. NextLevel Soccer. And I'm pretty sure this is made on ClickFunnels, right?
Yeah, just like the pages, website and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. It's really easy. It's really easy to use. It's really good. Their platform.
Yeah.
Russell Brunson, they've done some good stuff with this. Diving into the marketing side of things a little bit here. You got ABC, CBS, Fox. You have a whole bunch of reviews as seen. You have a whole bunch of video reviews, written reviews on the website. What else do you have here? This is really well put together, really well designed. I have experience as well with ClickFunnels doing a free book funnel, and
Yeah.
the whole upsell and downsell. But I'm curious to know personally, did you is this all you, or did you have at least like a little bit of guidance in order to put this together? Because like this is pretty impressive. Like this, for me to do something like this I started around your age. It probably took me a year to get to something like this, but this is looking good. That's my personal question.
Yeah, so there's been evolutions. We've done a couple of launches, and the funniest, and you'll probably find this interesting. The funniest part of it all is I recorded the course. I've got so many videos coming now, like different things I thought of and stuff. But the course itself was the same course we launched with, and it's the same course that is around right now. And it's literally, it works, right? But it's funny because at the start, no one got it, right? No one understood it, and no one really, a couple of people did, but it wasn't this massive sort of wave that's happening now, where it's like I'm smashed every day, which is obviously like messages, but it's obviously the level that people you want to get to, right? With anything, but the problem I had as talking about marketing or whatever, was that I didn't understand my product good enough. It was the same course that's getting results now, and it's the same as what I just outlined. But the problem wasn't that people didn't understand it; was I didn't understand it, and I didn't understand, because I was in it still. I still had the injury. I was still, mental problems. Just trying to, survive it, get out of that dark space. And so I wasn't able to step back and go, what are people really hurting? Why are they really, suffering? What's people's biggest problems? And so the course solves every problem you think of. It solves it, right? But I wasn't explaining that well enough to people for them to go, oh, it makes sense to join. And so all I did was obviously the website's had some evolutions, and you become better with using software. And I'm a footballer, so software doesn't make much sense to me. But yeah, all I did was improve the way I explained the course to people. And then they're like, oh, well, it's a no brainer because it doesn't matter if I'm 6 years old, 8 years old, or 17. I've even got students that are like older than me, like 21, 22. It doesn't matter if, where you're at on your journey, it can help anyone because some people join to get access to the contacts, start working on the training and go straight away. Others want to do the whole holistic approach of like, I'm 8 years old. I want to get overseas by the time I'm 12. So let's smash this out for the next 4 years. But yeah, I'm really proud of what we've been able to do. Yeah.
Nice. What about advertising? I see you on Instagram. I'm assuming. Well, do you do Facebook ads as well?
Yeah. Yes.
Nice. And besides those two platforms, are you advertising anywhere else like YouTube, Pinterest?
I'm not, and it's actually a bit of a quick exclusive here. I haven't told anyone about this yet, but I will be starting a YouTube channel soon. And then, I really want to move into as well, like, a lot of personal brand, play my, have my career. And I really am having good visions at the moment about how cool it'd be if you could have a pro player that documents the journey of like being a pro player. And obviously I'm sure there's people out there on YouTube doing that already. But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of stuff I can share with people, and I think a YouTube is a good way to start that. So yeah, looking to just what's the word? Anyway, I've lost it here. But yeah, looking to diversify the portfolio of advertising, as you talk about that, like start on YouTube as well, start YouTube advertising, and not only with a channel organically, but doing ads as well. At the end of the day, like I think it's funny, ads get a bad rap, but the only reason ads get a bad rap is because the thing on the other side of the ad is not always the best thing. And so for me, it's like pushing past that and being like, yes, this is an ad, but it's an ad that could change your career, like literally. So yeah.
No, I think I've used ads and I've spent a good thousands of dollars on it. It's a very powerful tool to use. Um, last one, are you doing Google ads? No,
I'm not. So
only
moving into
Instagram and
that.
Facebook. Okay, let's talk
Yeah.
a little bit about let's talk a little bit about ads here. Who's your target audience? Are you focusing? I know you mentioned 8-year olds, 12-year olds, and 20-year olds that you're working with right now, specifically male. Are you also targeting parents? And are you using different headlines to target parents and then different headlines to target players?
My ads are very I've had a couple of advisors as far as when it comes to the advertising, and I think it's funny because I've had that question a bit now. A lot of programs that revolve around sports, people get stuck on: do I target the parents or do I target the player? And I wanted to do one or the other, and I had it set out in my mind that, like, obviously, you need to target parents because they're the ones that decide what they want to do for their son or daughter, right? But then the reverse worked, and I was like, people are enrolling into this thing that I still don't fully understand myself because I'm a footballer, not a online entrepreneur thing. And people are enrolling into this thing, but it's the player that is enrolling. And I'm like, okay, so this was a really weird realization for me talking advertising was I find that if a player is really excited, for example, watches the TikToks or watches the reels and likes the program, and they go to their parents and say, I want to do this thing. Most times the parent's going to go, okay, well, it's going to keep you training, it's going to make you better as a person and as a player. All right, we'll do it. But I actually, and this is nothing against the parents watching this, I find parents that message me or go through the advertising sometimes, not always, because some parents are pretty on it, they know what they want, but some parents are pretty indecisive when it comes to like, oh, well, what if it doesn't work? And I'm like, it works every time, but if it doesn't work, you get your money back. It does work. I'm just, it's funny because I say to people, if it doesn't work, you get your money back. But I only say that so they feel super comfortable in joining because it literally works every time. Like, it's impossible not to work. The training stuff and how the repetition based work, it works every time. So yeah, for me, with my ads, sorry, going back to your question, very broad. I'm as broad as possibly can be because I want to touch people in every part of the world. And so my headlines are: do you play soccer, or does your child play soccer? I'm just testing. Some ads work better, some ads work worse, but very broad. People interested in soccer, Premier League, MLS, all that different type of stuff. And I just am really broad with it.
Nice.
And broad's really working for me.
Nice. That's good to hear. And I have your Shopify shop pulled up here. I guess you know what I'll do. I'll share my screen so the viewers could see it.
Yeah.
Share screen options. Share screen. We got Kai's merch right here. NexLevel streetwear. Um, you know, I the branding's really cool. Maybe you could touch a little bit on quickly what inspired you to create the logo and how did you create the logo?
Yeah. I it was a really funny process actually. I built the course and I still didn't have a name, and I'm like, oh god, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I had so many different names. I was going, way down different avenues, and um, my dad actually said to me, he's like, what about next level soccer? And I was like, because I was set on it had to be football, right? Um, but then I thought back and I was like, hey, people that call the game football are kind of the people that are already at a European level, right? In the UK, English speaking European countries. And so I was like, the idea of this, and people don't know this actually, the idea of the course is to get a player that doesn't come from Europe to Europe by giving them the training and everything else and the contacts. And so I was like, but people outside of Europe call it a different name. They call it soccer, right? Obviously, we've got, I think, 20 or 30 students from the UK, which is amazing. I love my UK family, but they 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 don't mind, I guess. Obviously, they enrolled in something that's called soccer. It's probably against their religion, but but that wasn't my whole process. And again, this training will work for you no matter where you live. But at the end of the day, my message with Next Level Soccer is, we want to really make sure the people that this was created for get a hold of it, and that those people come from countries where originally it's probably called soccer. So Next Level Soccer, I think, was like a good name because it does that for anyone, no matter who you are, where you're from. It takes you to the next level. So
Got it. Yeah, and Canadian soccer players and American soccer players the system here is programmed for parents and players. It's a pay to play system over here. So yeah, it's definitely in the market, Canada and America. So that nice.
we
Um,
haven't hit too much of Canada. Really need to dial. I think I need to dial in on Canada because, I mean, like we run super broad ads and people just pick up along the line where they're from. But Canada's one that we haven't had too much of. I think maybe one or two players from Canada. So yeah.
yeah, interesting. Well, I'm assuming obviously the U.S. market's probably booming. I mean, that's the biggest market, one of the biggest markets. Well, let's dive into the last question here before you dive into the fun ones. What's your most memorable soccer moment this far?
Oh, hmm. It's weird because you asked me this question last week. I would have given you a different answer. I'll give you two answers. The first one would have last week, if you asked me the question, it would have been when I played against Espanyol in my first year in La Liga in Spain. I played against Barca, and that was an insane day. Played against them 5 or 6 times after that, but the first time I played against them was like, it was like, oh wow, because it was a real game. We were playing for points. It wasn't a tour or anything like that, and that was a pretty insane day. And I just remember leaving the complex. I think we lost like 3-1 or something, and leaving the complex the first time I played against them, and like, yeah, I got work to do. Like these kids are insane, and obviously I was playing the same league, so I wasn't far behind, but I had obvious work to do, and that was my second year in Spain. And I remember when I played against them in my last game ever in the country, and I got the ball, turned in one action, beat two players, and hit the ball with my left foot, hit the post. And after that was in that first couple of minutes of the game, and I was like, okay, you know, I've proven the model. I've proven that anyone can do it, you know, because I could show you photos where I come from. It's like we've got like one grocery shop in the whole city. It's crazy. And so that was a big moment for me. The other one was when I played against Espanyol, I was saying before, because I trialed for them, and then I played against them 3 years later, and I remember all the players remembered me. We kept in contact, and I played against them, and they all came up to me after the game, and my family was also in Spain to watch that game, and they came up to me like, man, wow, like maybe you can come back to us next season, like, you know, played so well, and that was probably one of the better games of that year. And but the point, the moment that has really stuck with me recently in the last week is the fact that those two boys who came to Germany only, you know, several months ago now, and trained with us and didn't get in, and now, you know, whatever it is, 18 months to close to 2 years later, they're now professional footballers. And that's a massive thing for me, because, you know, people, and they were 16, 17 when they came. So people, you know, start giving up at that age. And these guys got rejected at that age, you know, like we were a mid-table club. It's not like they were coming to a Bayern Munich or a Borussia Dortmund and not getting signed. So, yeah, that was remembering being in that place, which I feel like a whole different person now after the injury, after COVID. I feel like that, you know, that was a long time ago, which it wasn't really. And training 5 days a week in a professional environment, Bundesliga, was a pretty surreal moment now that I think on what that was actually like. So yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, before we dive into
Sorry about the long answers. I just I've had a lot of revelations in the last week, so it's crazy we're doing this podcast right now.
Yeah, no worries. I like it's good to have the context. It's good content. And then again, it's being shared live with the next generation growing up right now, so they're definitely going to learn from this. Before we dive into the fun questions, I wanted to ask you if you wanted to tap in or share anything else before we dive into the fun questions.
No, I think everyone's got a bit of a grasp. Like, if anyone wants to speak to obviously you or me, like, just send us a message. You know, I try to I'm NextLevel, to be honest with you, that's being fully transparent. It's still at the stage where I can reply to all the messages. Like, TikTok's crazy. Like, I've only been on TikTok for 2 weeks, and I literally can't reply to all the comments. Like, it's a joke. But Instagram, message me on Instagram. I'm always around on Instagram, and yeah, can reply on there. So yeah, if you have any other questions.
Yeah, so everyone can reach out to you at Next Level Soccer, or do you want them to reach out to you there, or your personal page?
Either or. I mean, Kai Stopka all together, or NextLevel Soccer. It's totally up to you guys. Yeah.
Got it. Let's dive into the fun questions. You got to answer them fast, Kai.
All right. Is it a quick fire?
Yeah, rapid. Who's your favorite team?
Barca.
Favorite player?
Oh Lord. Messi.
Favorite cleats?
Favorite what?
Favorite boots?
Cleats, boots. The Hypervenoms, the old Hypervenoms.
Oh yeah, those are fine. Favorite food?
Be a bit naughty and say pizza.
Favorite artist musically?
Too many. There's way too many.
Gotta choose one.
Choose one. Drake.
Oh wow, Canadian boy. Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
Who's the first team that you're choosing in FIFA to play with?
What? Sorry, I didn't hear that one.
Who's the first team you're picking in FIFA?
Man United.
2 goals in a game or 1 goal and 1 assist?
1 goal, 1 assist.
Would you rather score a free kick or a PK last minute goal to win you guys a game?
I've done a few. I'm pretty good at the last minute one, so I'll go with that.
A free kick or a PK? They're both last minute goals. Which one would you rather score to win your team the game?
Free kick, 100%.
A bar dizzle, a bar down.
What'd you say? Sorry.
I was saying a free kick, a bar down, a bar dizzle. I don't know.
What does that mean?
Okay, we'll talk about it after.
All right.
I'll ask you the last one. If you were a coach and you were able to sub in any player in history to win you the game, who would it be?
Ronaldinho.
Nice. Yes.
I can just imagine Ronaldinho rainbow flicking a goalkeeper from halfway. So yeah.
Okay, Kai. Before we go, I just want to thank you for taking the time for joining us in the One Soccer Nation podcast today.
Thanks so much, man. It's been a really fun podcast interview. Really happy to be here. And yeah, as I said, anyone that has any questions, always reach out and I'll be happy to help.
And we'll have everything linked in the description, guys. Check it out.
Thank you.